You wake up tomorrow morning. The alarm goes off. Same sound, different day. And before your feet even touch the floor, before coffee, before looking in the mirror, you're already putting on a costume. Not your actual clothes, not yet. The costume is deeper than that. It's the way you'll move through the world, pretending that you have no choice but to be exactly who you are right now. A philosopher named Sartre called it bad faith. It's the lie we tell ourselves so quietly, we almost believe it's the truth. Let me paint you a picture. Paris, 1943. The city is occupied by Nazis. Soldiers patrol the streets, and in a small apartment, a man is writing about freedom. Complete, total freedom, in a world that feels anything but free. Jean-Paul Sartre, smoking constantly, vision failing, writing down this impossible idea, that we are condemned to be free. Not the fun kind of freedom, not the freedom of vacation days and open schedules, the freedom that weighs on you, the freedom that says you are responsible for who you become, and you can't blame anyone else. Let me tell you about the waiter. Sartre walks into a cafe. Maybe it's the 1940s, maybe it's last week, maybe it's this morning, and he watches a waiter doing his job. The man moves perfectly. His movements are too precise. He bends forward just right, holds the tray just right, smiles with the exact smile you'd expect from a waiter. And Sartre realizes something. This man is pretending to be a waiter the way a kid pretends to be a teacher or a doctor. He's acting out the part so well that he's forgotten he's acting. He's become the role, like it's his entire identity, fixed, permanent. I am a waiter, the man might say. This is just who I am. I have no choice, but here's the twist. Only a person who is free can pretend they're not free. Only someone who could walk out the door, quit, start over, become someone completely different, would need to pretend they couldn't. That's bad faith. The waiter is hiding from his own freedom, from the scary truth that at any moment he could choose to be someone else entirely. Now, let's make this personal. Where are you being the waiter? What role have you played so well for so long that you've forgotten it's just a role? The good son or daughter, the friend who's always there, the professional who has it together, the person who takes care of everyone, the rebel who always rebels the same way. We act out these identities so convincingly that we start to think they're who we really are. Sartre says we do this to avoid anxiety, the dizzy feeling of realizing that nothing about us is permanent, that we are always choosing who we are. Even right now, even as you read this, you are choosing to be the person who keeps reading, who stays curious, who doesn't stop. And that choice, tiny as it seems, is what makes you you. But here's where it gets heavier. Sartre wasn't just talking about waiters. He was talking about all of us, all the time. Think about the things we say every day. That's just who I am. I'm not good at that kind of thing. I have to do this. There's no other option. Every time we say these things, we're turning ourselves into stone statues. We're pretending we are objects, fixed, unchangeable, finished, when really we are always in motion, always incomplete, always moving forward, always becoming. Sartre wrote, "Man is nothing else but that which he makes of himself. Not will make, not has made, but makes. Right now, ongoing, this very second. You are creating yourself right now, in the space between these words and your thoughts, between who you were 5 minutes ago and who you're choosing to be in this moment." Now, Sartre didn't believe in God, and this is important, because for him there was no instruction manual, no divine plan, no safety net. He flipped thousands of years of philosophy upside down with one idea. Existence comes before essence. You exist first, raw, undefined, thrown into the world, and then you create what you are through your choices. Think of a chair, Someone imagines chair first, then builds it to match that idea. But you, no one imagined you first. You just showed up with no predetermined purpose, and now you have to figure out who you are by living your life. That's why believing in God for Sartre was the ultimate form of bad faith. Not because God doesn't exist, but because believing in God lets you escape responsibility. You get to say, God made me this way. It's part of His plan. I'm just following what I'm supposed to do. And by saying that, you deny the one thing that makes you human, your terrifying, beautiful, overwhelming freedom. Let me pause here, because it's easy to hear Sartre and think, okay, so I just need to be authentic, make free choices, take control. But what does that actually mean? The waiter can't just stop being a waiter. He has bills to pay, maybe a family depending on him. Real limitations. And you can't just walk away from your entire life because some French philosopher said you're free. Sartre understood this. He called it facticity, the unchangeable facts of your life. Your body, your past, where you were born, the language you speak, the color of your skin, the time period you live in. These are givens. You didn't choose them. But here's the tricky part. You are free in how you respond to those givens. You can't change the fact that you're a waiter, but you can change whether you think you're only a waiter, whether you believe you are nothing but a waiter, whether you've squeezed your entire identity into that one single role. Being authentic isn't about running away from your life. It's about owning the fact that your life is something you are creating, moment by moment, even when you have real limitations. Sartre lived through World War II. He was captured by the Germans, put in a prison camp, later released. He watched people become Nazis. He watched people join the resistance. He watched people collaborate with the enemy. And the question that haunted him was, how do people give up their own freedom? How does a human being, someone with infinite possibilities, turn themselves into just a cog in a machine, a follower, a slogan? Bad faith. The worker who says, I'm just following orders. The citizen who says, what difference can one person make? The person in a bad relationship who says, I had to stay, I didn't have a choice. Sartre's answer was harsh. You did have a choice. You always have a choice. And pretending you don't is the most dangerous lie we tell ourselves, because when we deny our freedom, we don't just limit ourselves. We make the world smaller for everyone around us. Every time you say, I can't, when you really mean I won't, you're not just lying to yourself, you're teaching others to do the same. But listen, I don't think Sartre is asking us to be perfect. I think he's asking us to pay attention. Notice when you feel trapped by a role and mistake that feeling for actual reality. Notice when you say, I have to, and ask yourself, do I? Really? Notice when you've been playing a part for so long, you've forgotten there's a real person underneath. Because here's the thing. Bad faith isn't about being a bad person. It's just a human thing. Even Sartre admitted we might never completely escape it. We slip into it constantly, automatically, because being truly free is exhausting. It's easier to just be the waiter. It's easier to just play the role. It's easier to follow the script. And maybe, part of being human is learning to live in that uncomfortable space between the roles we have to play and the freedom we can never completely escape. So, let me ask you something. Not as philosophy homework, not as some abstract theory, but as a real question. When was the last time you felt truly free? And I don't mean vacation free or weekend free. I mean, when did you last feel the dizzy excitement of your own possibility? When did you last choose something that you genuinely wanted? Not because it made sense, not because someone expected it, not because it fit the story you've been telling yourself, but because it was truly yours. And here's the harder question. When was the last time you pretended you had no choice because making a real choice felt too scary, too lonely, too real? What are you avoiding? What role have you perfected so you don't have to face the terrifying truth that you could, right now, change everything? Sartre died in 1980. 50,000 people came to his funeral. A man who spent his whole life saying you are alone, you are free, you are responsible, and thousands of people showed up to mourn him. Maybe because he named something we all feel but struggle to put into words, that we are works in progress, forever unfinished, forever caught between what we were and what we might become. And the question isn't whether we live in bad faith. We all do, sometimes, maybe most of the time. The real question is, what would it cost you to stop pretending?